So I had some audio issues with the video for this, so I'm just recording a little bit of voiceover to kind of talk about what's going on. This is the gas tank that came with the second SV650 that I bought. It had been sitting for quite a while. The fuel pump had been removed, did not come with the bike. It was pretty rusty in there, so I decided I wanted to clean it up. I made this little plate, bought a gasket and put on there. Put some nuts and bolts and stuff and shook up in there quite a bit. And removed all that, vacuumed out a bunch of junk, and decided I was going to treat the inside of that. So I bought some Evaporust. I bought a couple of bottles of this and just filled up the tank, let it sit upside down like this, rolled over to the other side, rolled over to the other side. I kept rolling it around, let it sit for about 6 hours on each side, and that seemed to do a pretty good number on it. Cleaned up the rust quite a bit. It looks a whole lot better in there than it did before. It's not perfect, but it's certainly functional, so it was time to go ahead and move on to the next steps. So while that's sat, I decided I was going to try and go ahead and get the bike running. Since I showed in my last video, it will fire up with some starter fluid. I decided I would take the fuel tank that I had left over from my original SV650 project. This is the one that's got the big dent in the side of it. And I'd go ahead and put a fuel pump in it. This is a fuel pump that I picked up off of SV Riders forum from a guy that was parting out an SV1000. It is the same part number. I believe it's also the same part number for certain year GSXR bikes, but I'm not sure exactly which ones. Now the thing you got to look out for these is that the 2003 and I think 4 SV650s had a 3-prong plug, as well as all the SV1000s and these other ones. Some of the other bikes, the later year SV650s, had a 4-prong plug on these fuel pumps, so it is a little bit different part. There I show the part number for the gasket. And then from there, it's just a simple case of putting it on there. I picked up a set of bolts for this. The bolts will only fit on one way, so you got to kind of spin it around until the bolt pattern lines up. And as you can see here, that is where the fuel outlet from the fuel pump sticks out kind of toward the left side of the bike as you're sitting on it. Then it's just bolt it up and put it on the bike and plug it up. So let's go on down the road a few minutes and see what we got. So I brought it out, hooked up to the bike, used the kill switch to prime the line a few times, just turn it on and off, make sure there's plenty of fuel in the line, and then it was time to see if we can get this thing started and running on its own. Ooh, getting excited. As you can hear, it's got a little bit of a jogging idle here. All the sensors are kind of trying to calibrate and figure out what's going on. I think this bike probably hasn't run in a few years, so just trying to figure out what's going on. I tried not to run it too long. My neighbor's apartment is right there just to the left of the screen, and their little yappy dog didn't like me being out there to begin with, and it certainly didn't like this. So I didn't want to run it too long. Gotta give it a little rev here before I turn it off. And then I just kind of turn and talk to the camera for a little bit. But like I said, I don't have that audio. Just talking about my future plans for the bike. Alright guys, so we are back working on the SV650. Like I've said in previous videos, I just kind of do this to document for my own purposes so I can kind of have date stamps as to when I do things and keep track of my progress. But it's been a while since I posted an update, so we'll kind of talk about what we got going on here. I was able to move into my girlfriend's garage to work on this SV, as I posted in a previous video. The mean apartment lady at my other place came and yelled at me for working on bikes and cars in the parking lot, so you're not allowed to do that, which is fine. I have since moved to a new apartment, but then my girlfriend offered for me to move into her garage with my bike, so I have done so with this one. Gotten a little bit of progress done, not a whole lot. We got a new radiator on it. Didn't come with a fan, so I had to pick up a fan, got a temp switch, got it all wired in, it all works perfectly. Did an oil change with a new filter. I showed you guys the M4 going on. I'm gonna make a new bracket for that because that one's bent just a little bit. And when I build this bike up, I'm gonna not have it have passenger pegs anyway. So I'm gonna make a new mount for that. The rear master cylinder was completely seized, so I got a new one and rebuilt it. Cleaned up the caliper, flushed it, worked great. It starts and runs great. I have yet to take it for a test ride because it's December, and I've been working a lot. I moved to a new job, moved to a new apartment. I got a lot of things going on, kind of taking up my time. My new job is on night shift, so it's not like I'm around during the day. I gotta sleep. But we are making some progress. Today, I am rebuilding, I'm taking apart the GSXR fork set I've got. I've got one of them torn down. Seals should be showing up today, but I'm going out of town, so it'll be a little bit before I can get them back in and these put back together with fresh oil. But I got this one torn down, spring out. I've used the Traction Dynamics, makes a really good toolkit to do fork rebuilds. So I got their whole toolkit. It was like 70 bucks. I'll link to it in the description below. It's pretty much everything that you need to do it. I'll put a couple of links to other videos that I used that I referenced to kind of show how it's done. It's real simple. It took me all of, 5 minutes to tear this fork down and get it drained. So the other one, I've got the fork cap loose already. So it should only take me about another 5 minutes. But yeah, that's where we're at. We're gonna put new seals in these, put new oil, make sure they're working well, and then we'll get a front stand for this guy so we can tear that whole front end off and get some GSXR goodness on it. Looking forward to keeping moving on this. Hopefully I can have it ready in the spring when it warms up. And yeah, we'll keep you guys posted.